Okay, so we are streaming live on YouTube now. Yeah, so once Robbie joins us, we'll get started. But if there's any questions for me before we do get going, I am here and can answer questions. John, for a second, I thought you were raising your hand and you were just moving something.
My printouts up here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I start shuffling around, let's be looking for, more stuff to read.
So Anthony, the way these work, once our instructor arrives, I'll probably, because this is our first class of this module, I'll probably do a quick introduction and explain some things. But we have class on Zoom, obviously, but we also stream live on YouTube. Once Robbie joins, I'll turn it over to him and spotlight him, so he'll be the main person seen on YouTube. And we typically stay muted unless there's a question or anything like that. And depending on the instructor, either you can type something in the chat and I'll ask Robbie once it's kind of an appropriate time to ask him, or you can wave or whatever. But we do typically stay muted because just the background noise and everything.
Yeah.
Once we get going. All right, so we've got more folks joining us, and Robbie's here.
Yes, I had some extra steps to do. Sorry, I'm late.
I'm sorry, Robbie.
I sent you a panicked email. Ignore it.
Oh, I didn't see it. I had just checked just to make sure, but yeah. I did not see that. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here.
Yes. No.
Yeah, so I am showing that it's 7:01. So Robbie, if it's okay with you, I'll go through some quick things, introductory things before we get started and before I turn it over to you. We are already streaming on YouTube, by the way, for those who are just joining us. So my name is Linda Saw. I'm the program assistant. So my job is to hopefully make things run smoothly. Of course, there are no guarantees and no promises with that. And I will post the information for the class on the Kadampa Center website. And so to access that information, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen real quick since this is the first class of this module. It makes it a little bit easier to see. Let's see, I'm sure this is it. This should be it. Oh, that's not it either. Here it is. Okay. So if you go to kadampa-center.org, there's a wealth of information here. And actually, okay. And so lots and lots of great information on the Kadampa Center's website. What I tell everyone is my favorite place is to go to the calendar, which is up in this right-hand corner here. And once you click on that, there's so many things happening at the Kadampa Center. So you can see, well, I had scrolled through to August. I was looking ahead, but there's lots and lots happening both virtually and a few things are starting to go back on site. Most of those do require registration ahead of time. So simply just, click on whatever it is you might be interested in and you'll find more information. And if you do need to register for that offering, that information is there. And I did want to mention that we do have a couple of visiting teachers coming. Let me stop this. Okay, coming up in July and August. So in July, we have Don Handrick joining us virtually. Normally when the Kadampa Center has visiting teachers, they are here in person, but the virtual world will continue a bit longer. So Don Handrick will be joining us for the Thursdays in July. And so that's the first 4 Thursdays because there's 5 Thursdays in July. And those classes will be from 7 until 9, and he will be teaching on Uniting Wisdom and Compassion, which ties in perfectly to what we are going through in Discovering Buddhism course. And then in August, we have the delight of having Venerable Rabina Horton join us for the Wednesdays. John's excited, yay, for the Wednesdays in August. And those are also, I believe, 7 to 9. And she will be teaching on how to loosen the grip of ego grasping. So those do require registration. So be sure to register for those if you want to participate on Zoom. If you want to just stream live on YouTube, those will be available to stream live as well. And let's see here, oh, yes. And in regards to our visiting teachers, there's always opportunities to build merit and to practice generosity and to support these teachings through financial contributions. And information for that can be found online as well. There's sponsorship levels, which begin at $108 and of course go up as high as you'd like. And then there's also donation opportunities for any amount. If you are a sponsor at that 108 amount or higher, you do have the opportunity to write and send in your own very special dedication. And that can be, whatever speaks to your heart, whatever you want to dedicate the teachings to. So those are nice opportunities. So be sure to check any of that information out online. And in regards to online, those of you that are joining on Zoom, obviously you registered and enrolled in the Discovering Buddhism class and you got the Zoom link. Also included in that email would be the information to find the Discovering Buddhism materials, like the reading materials, and I post homework there as well. And so when you receive that email, just pay attention to it, scroll down, and you'll see in the body of that email that there is a username and a password and how you can access that information. It's basically kadampa-center.org/user, and then you'll be prompted to enter that username and password. And from there, you can access all of the Discovering Buddhism material, not for just this module, but for previous modules as well. Okay, and with that, I think I'm finished, Robbie. So if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Good evening, everyone. Let's see if I can get a view of everybody who's in here. Okay, great. Good to see you all. Let's see, for those people, let's just find out here, the people who are on Zoom. Do we have anybody who this is their first Discovering Buddhism class? Okay, great. Okay. Very glad to have you here. Anybody who's taken this module before? Okay, last cycle, okay. And I think I taught it last time also, or maybe, yeah, okay. Well, I think it's gonna be very different this time, but we'll see. My name's Robbie Watkins. I've been a member of Kadampa Center for about 25 years, and I've been studying Tibetan Buddhism for about 40 years, which is kind of scary to think of. I've been leading various modules in the Discovering Buddhism series since we first brought this program to Kadampa Center. I've only led this one once before. We have 5 classes spread out over 6 weeks. There is no class the night of Monday, July 5th. That's the correct date? Okay. So we'll have 5 classes, and unlike what the calendar says, each class will be an hour long, 7 to 8. I think you go much past an hour in some of these Zoom meetings and you hit a point of diminishing returns. So I'm going to try and limit them from 7 to 8. So we'll start on time and attempt to finish on time. There are readings, which Linda told you how to access. I would like you to read all the readings over the course of the next 6 weeks. You can just take them at your own pace. The readings do not parallel what I'll be talking about in this class. They're on the same subject, but don't look for an exact parallel or correspondence. It's just more interesting materials on spiritual teacher and how to relate to the spiritual teacher. I think this is one of the trickier subjects in discovering Buddhism. We never quite know where to place it in the sequence of things. Sometimes it's at the beginning, sometimes it's at the end, sometimes it's in the middle. So we'll just see how this works out. I would like everyone to establish a meditation practice over the course of the next 5 weeks. Set aside 10 minutes every day to do your meditation. I'll give you various subjects to meditate on. A little bit of structure, having a place and an identified each day makes that more likely to happen rather than just saying I'll do it when I get to it. So we'll talk about meditation as we go along. And we will start each session with our Kadampa Center prayers. Do you have those where we can bring those up, Linda? I think people have taken the other modules, are familiar with them, so I'm not going to really give any commentary on them. Otherwise, it gets a little bit repetitive. But we will start with prayers and end with prayers each time. So if you can bring those up, Linda.
Sure, hang on one second. Okay,
Thank you.
there we go.
Okay. So we'll start with taking refuge and generating bodhicitta 3 times, 4 immeasurables, and then the short mandala offering. And if everybody can mute themselves, I'll read them. If we try and read together, it gets pretty chaotic. So we'll start with taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends or hatred for enemies. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Now we'll begin with a short meditation session. If you're new to meditation, that's fine. I'll give a little bit of guidance. We begin by checking our posture. I imagine most of us are sitting in a chair. So our back is nice and straight, not rigid, but we're not slumped back or forward. Our head not tilted to one side or the other, maybe just a couple degrees in front of the vertical. Our eyelids are either lightly closed or just very slightly open, letting in a little bit of light. Our mouth is lightly closed, not clenched. Our tongue is on our gums above our upper teeth. Our shoulders are down and a little bit back, so our chest is open. Our upper arms are away from the sides of our torso, and our right hand is on left with thumbs touching, slightly below the level of the navel. Our feet are flat on the floor if we're sitting on a chair. If we're sitting on a cushion, our legs are crossed in a position that we find comfortable and non-distracting. So just take a moment and scan your body from head working down and address any sources of tension or discomfort that you notice now, so they won't be a problem during the meditation to follow. And we begin our meditation by taking 3 deep breaths from the abdomen, the stomach expanding on the in-breath as our diaphragm is pulled down, and then contracting towards our spine on the out-breath. So we'll do 3 deep, slow breaths like that. And now we allow our breathing to return to its normal pattern. And we take a moment to touch on our motivation, as we did in the prayers. And whatever motivation we have for being here this evening is fine and perfectly acceptable. But it's said that the most powerful, the most meaningful motivation is what we refer to as the bodhicitta motivation. The motivation that everything I do, including this meditation, is so that I can become enlightened for the benefit of others. Enlightened for the benefit of others. That's the motivation. That's the most powerful. And that may not come naturally, or probably doesn't come naturally to most of us. But even if you can just effortfully generate that, that's more than good enough. And having set our motivation, we'll now do the actual meditation, a very simple concentration meditation. Awareness or consciousness is placed on the physical sensation of breath moving in and out through our nostrils. Direct perception of the movement of the breath. Not describing it, not visualizing it, not imagining it, but just direct experience of that slightly cool tactile sensation of breath moving in and out. So we just stay with that for the next 5 minutes. And every time our mind has wandered off, as it inevitably will, we gently bring it back to the breath. And now we can end our meditation by doing a brief dedication. We acknowledge that we've done something a little bit out of the ordinary. Something has made a positive imprint on our mind stream. And may that positive imprint not be dissipated, but may it ripen in the future in a way that benefits all sentient beings. And you can relax your concentration. And let's see, now I think we have a video to watch. This was produced by...
Sure, let me know when
this
you're
is-
ready to pull it up.
Yeah, this was produced by the FPMT, which is our parent organization. They did a series of one for each of the Discovering Buddhism modules. So I'll turn it over to Linda to bring up the video, and we'll watch this as an introduction to this module.
Okay, and if there's any problem with the sound or anything like that, just let me know. I'm going to go ahead and start it now.
I don't hear any sound.
Yeah, I'm not getting any sound.
Okay. All right, hang on one second. Let me go back to, I always forget to do this. Share sound. Oh, okay, what about now?
Yeah.
If you want to learn anything well, you look for a teacher who has mastered the subject you want to learn. Why should you think differently when it comes to your spiritual life? To find a way out of suffering, you must find a guide who has already found the way out and can show you how to do it yourself. To find a spiritual teacher is the most fundamental aspect of the Buddhist path. It is not possible to learn to be enlightened from books alone. You need a living teacher to personally guide you. Tsongkhapa attained enlightenment, and because of his great compassion, gave teachings on the graduated path to enlightenment, so others could be free. He taught the first step on the path is to devote yourself to a teacher who can properly guide you. In this program, we will learn how to recognize a perfectly qualified teacher and how rare it is to be able to take them as your guide.
In the Mahayana Buddhist teachings, it is said that the spiritual mentor is the key to the path, a guide to the perfect and ultimate state of enlightenment. Therefore, one's motivation, both in seeking a spiritual teacher as well as in cultivating and developing a relationship with one, is of fundamental importance. In this program, we will explore together the importance of the spiritual teacher to achieving ultimate success on the spiritual path. Therefore, as you listen to these teachings, generate in your mind a particularly strong altruistic motivation, seeking to attain enlightenment as quickly as possible in order to bring to enlightenment all other living beings.
if you are like me, you have no boobs, you would like to have boobs,
I'm
but that's
so
just not
sorry.
in the
I don't
cards
know
for you.
why.
Never found a boy.
This has never, ads have never come up before. Oh, that's lovely. Go figure.
In the context of engaging in a spiritual transformation, bringing about a change within one's hearts and minds. At the initial stage, we do need to rely upon experienced teacher who can show us the path, who can introduce us to the subject matter. Since the role of spiritual teacher in one's practice becomes so important, we find that in Lama Tsongkhapa's great expositions of the stages of the path, he discusses the issue of reliance on a spiritual teacher. The qualifications that are necessary on the part of the teachers are presented in Maitriya's Mahayana Sutra Alamkara, ornament of Mahayana Sutras, where he lists 10 principal qualities or qualifications of a spiritual teacher. The first is someone with a disciplined mind. This refers to the quality of having an ethical discipline. Second is having a calmed mind, which refers to the quality of having mastered the higher training in meditation and concentration. And the third is being thoroughly calmed, which refers to the quality of having mastered the higher training in wisdom, here particularly referring to the wisdom of no self, anatma. And then number 4 is that having the knowledge and the experience of the 3 higher trainings alone is not adequate. You need to have the knowledge that exceeds the knowledge of the students. Whatever subject matter that is being taught, the teacher must have a knowledge that exceeds the level of the student's knowledge. So this is the 4th quality. The 5th is that the teacher must have a vigor and enthusiasm for teaching the student. And so this is the 5th one, that's enthusiasm. Number 6 is that the teacher must have a vast learning so that he or she will have the resources from where the teacher will be able to draw the metaphors, the examples, the citations, and all of this. So vast learning is this number 6. Number 7 is who has a realization of emptiness. If possible, the genuine realization of emptiness, if not at least having a deep commitment to the practice of compassion, so a practice of emptiness on the basis of having a deep admiration to the teachings of emptiness. And then number 8 is that the teacher must be eloquent and skillful in his or her means of presenting the Dharma. Having knowledge and experience alone is not adequate. If the teacher is not skillful in presenting the Dharma, then the Dharma teaching would not be effective. So number 8 is eloquent speech. Number 9 is probably the most important quality here, having a deep compassion towards the student to whom the teaching is being given. Someone who has a genuine sort of a concern for the well-being of the student. So this compassionate mind is number 9. And number 10 is that the teacher should have the ability of resilience, so that no matter how many times the teacher has to repeat in his or her teaching, he or she should have the resilience to continue to maintain his or her enthusiasm, commitment to the student, so that he or she is not discouraged or sort of, becomes kind of loses enthusiasm. So these are the 10 qualities recommended in Maitriya's text. And then Tsongkhapa concludes that section by making an emphasis that those practitioners who wish to seek a spiritual teacher should familiarize themselves with these qualifications of the spiritual master, and then search for these qualities in the person in whom you wish to entrust.
Such a thought may come into your mind, well, do I really need to rely on a qualified guru in order to travel the path? There are so many books, they're being translated around. I can just take those books and study those books. And on the basis of that, I will be able to travel the path and achieve realization. This is a wrong conception. It's a mistaken conception. Why? Because those teachings are alive. The teachings are alive. They need to be alive in order to have the strength of generating the realization in the mind of the one who practices it. That's why we have an uninterrupted lineage, which comes from Buddha Shakyamuni down to your root guru, which the teachings have been practiced, have been received, practiced, and passed to the next guru, up to your root guru. So that is the meaning of possessing the blessing of the lineage. That is what makes it work in your mind. Just the book itself, it won't do it. First, you have to receive it from an alive guru. Whether the Lama possesses all the qualities or not, at least he possesses the qualities of having the blessing of the lineage, having received the blessing of the lineage, and the qualities of being capable of passing through that particular lineage blessing. That is what makes it. So now, thinking this way, because I want to achieve the supreme enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, I need a guru. I need someone who is able to show me the path, how to travel to this path in order to achieve the purpose that I have in my mind. So if I need, even for worldly matters, for worldly education, someone who's on the top of that particular knowledge, who's able to show me how to get that particular knowledge, that much more I need a qualified guru who's able to show me the path to enlightenment. And not only I need a guru who's qualified, perfectly qualified, and I need to rely on this perfectly qualified guru in the correct way, without reversing my devotion or without abandoning that reliance, because that very reliance is the root of all the goodness that I'm seeking for.
There are many paths to enlightenment. The most profound one, the fastest one, the quickest one, the swiftest one is devotion to spiritual guide. By correctly devoting to spiritual guide, you can get enlightened in one lifetime. It is so powerful. I mean, first you say, what is a guru? So Rinpoche explained, guru is someone who's heavy in qualities, nothing higher. So then why do we need a guru? And I kind of more or less said that. It's the root of the path. What are the reasons for this? If you want to learn any kind of a skill, you need a teacher. And even a worldly skill, you need a teacher. So definitely the path to enlightenment, where we've never been before, where it's unknown to us. In Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim Chenmo, there's a quote from one of the Kadampa Geshes that says, here we are, we've just emerged from aeons spent in the lower realms, and we want to get enlightened, we want to travel the path. I mean, definitely we need a guide. Definitely we need a guide. So whether or not you get the realizations, how deeply you get those realizations, how stably you get those realizations, and in fact, it's explaining the teachings, not just the realizations, but they say whether or not your life becomes success or not, it depends on the strength of your devotion to spiritual guide. So it becomes a big thing. So this is the first thing that we have to become convinced of, that we definitely need a qualified teacher in order to travel the path to enlightenment. Okay? Even if we were going to go to India, we would need a guide. We need it because the goal is not just intellectual, it's to transform the mind. I think that's fine, that's clear. So you need a guru who can teach the whole path, right? You need a guru, you need a perfectly qualified guru who can teach you the whole path, and you need to devote yourself correctly. And it's kind of like that. You have some hardship to get your guru, and you really check. Once you've got them, you're going to be completely, okay, this one I'm going to devote, and I'm going to devote really well. Now, what are the benefits of correctly devoting? So now we come to these 8 benefits. And the point is that if you think about these benefits, then this amazing energy is going to come, and your practice is going to burst out, because you want to do nothing but devote yourself. You really want to devote yourself to your guru, and you want to do it in a very good way.
When I first heard about guru devotion, I wasn't very attracted to it. I thought it sounded a bit cult-like. And also I was used to having one God that was above everything else. And to think that a person with godlike qualities could be in a human form, a guru in a human form, I just only kind of thought of cults, and maybe I'd find a wrong guru that would lead me down a wrong track. But then as I was involved with Buddhism, with Tibetan Buddhism, and I started seeing the Lama's qualities, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and at first you're not sure, and you find some qualities, and then you have to open your heart, and then you start to feel some devotion. And then through this devotion you see how guru devotion, the teaching says, the root of the path. And you need teachers to guide you and to inspire you and to protect you. And the way they protect you is not some kind of magical powers necessarily, although there is this blessing power that does come with devotion. But it's more like they protect you by teaching you the Dharma, and therefore through your own actions, you learn to train your mind, which protects your mind. Then you start thinking, I want to react less with anger, and I want to practice patience. And you get inspired through their example. And you get guidance through, they will tell you, if you request, and and then if you have the karma to receive advice, and hopefully if you practice Dharma, and eventually you create the good fortune to be able to receive direct advice on an individual basis from your teacher. And because our gurus have more wisdom than we do, they can see more appropriately the best practice for us to help us, because their only aim is to want to help us, lead us to enlightenment. So their advice is always with this wanting to lead us to enlightenment, and how to do this in the most effective way. So we can follow their advice with great assurance that it is coming from the most pure place. And therefore, if we follow their advice purely, we are going to progress towards enlightenment.
I left school and home when I was 15. Took quite a lot of drugs after I left home, and I was partying all the time, and I was pretty much almost, I didn't live on the streets, but I was just hanging out on the streets for about a year. And I met Rinpoche for the first time. So this is probably the sweet part of my life. It was just like, there is no question in my life, and that the only thing that I want to do is offer my life to Rinpoche. And it was very, very, very strong. You just watch Rinpoche, and you just watch Rinpoche for every single act he does is an act is so perfect, and you just want to be like that. You just know that this is what you want to do. And I just knew 100% if I offered myself to this being, that he would direct me in a way that would be useful, because I can't figure it out myself. Or because I have so many past imprints that's making me continually making me think, continually making me believe that samsara is going to bring me happiness, and that it's going to work if I fall in love again. This time it's going to work, it's going to give me happiness, or whatever. I just 100% trusted that Rinpoche could definitely direct my life and guide me and show me how to do it. Especially looking at Rinpoche as the Guru, as the Yidam, as the Buddha, then definitely, there's nothing higher than that. We don't have anything higher than that, and there's nothing more precious to do. And it's not like, okay, once you have a relationship with the Guru, then it's really easy after that. In fact, it's even more difficult, because Rinpoche ultimately he confronts your ego. So that is a really painful experience. Very, very painful, because it's the one thing that we protect very well. So I'm still trying to deal with that, and I'm amazed at how Rinpoche cuts my ego down. Every time I'm in front of him, every time, he very subtly, very individually, he's basically taming my mind, and it's very precious. Just to see Rinpoche, and especially now I've been, able to serve Rinpoche quite closely for nearly 3 years, and there's, it just is reconfirmed in my life that, it's unbelievable, perfect. Rinpoche's actions are amazing. Everything he does comes from bodhicitta. He's always trying to help people. I just pray that I can keep being able to serve Rinpoche and doing this, because it feels really good.
His Holiness is, one of his names is the presence, Kundan, so that there's something you can experience that makes you believe that it's possible, because you see examples of persons. So by meeting Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Geshe Dargi and His Holiness Dalai Lama and other teachers, they're human beings. And they're saying, this is how, Lord Buddha said, this is how it is. I practiced it. I think this is how it is. If you practice it, it can be that way for you. So even if they all deny they have any realization or any power of mind, they'll say, oh, I'm not special. As long as I'm just a simple monk. But if you spend any time with him, any time near him, there's an effect he has on your mind that isn't just based on his intellectual understanding of Buddhism. There's an effect you can experience by being near a realized teacher It affects your own mind. So now we take we can imagine maybe of being like His Holiness the Dalai Lama or Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa, Geshe Target, who actually removed all the afflictions. The mind has these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom. So that can have a profound effect on your mind just by being near them. So for me, that's what gave me besides my own little experiments with meditation and practice and seeing what effect I could have in my mind, being near people who obviously to me, even though they deny it, have done it, So they've done it. So if they've done it, they're human beings. I'm a human being. I did this practice. Where Buddha said you're a human being, you can do this practice and you can remove the afflictions. So that's what I think, having had the good fortune to be near those beings, at the same time try to put it into some small way to practice. So the combination of those two experiences, so for me, there's no doubt, spending some time with Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, being near His Holiness. I mean, His Holiness is just amazing. I saw this film, I think, in Los Angeles. He was going to meet the press corps, the hardened reporters who think everything is, basically bad, I think, anyway. So just as he went down the line, touching them, they sort of lit up like light bulbs. Just as he passed, everyone became momentarily happy that their cares went away. They were smiling, and maybe 30 seconds later, it was gone, or 10 minutes later, it was gone. But it has an effect. So then so I think the idea of the blessings of the Lama, the blessings of the Guru, the blessings of the Buddha, it doesn't have to be so mystical. You put the big magnet next to the small magnet, so the polarities come the same for a little bit till the big magnet moves away, So you see some possibility, the blessings of the Guru, the blessings of the teacher. So and within Buddhism, I think, so that's the key, You can have a qualified teacher and then follow a authentic qualified teaching. And then you make the experiment yourself. And if it works, you do it more. If it doesn't work, do something else.
Thank you, Linda. That was special. I don't know what happened.
I've never experienced that when showing these videos before, so who knows?
Yeah. I'd like to really emphasize what John said there at the end. He says, you make the experiment, you do the experiment, and if it works and you like the results, you do more of it. If it doesn't work, if you don't like the results, you do something else. So that's a very interesting film to start off with. Most of the people who are talking have been studying Buddhism for quite a long time, and they have very deep and kind of profound relationships with their teachers. And I don't want anybody to get the idea that you have to have that kind of relationship with a teacher to get any benefit from the experience. Everyone is different. That type of relationship may not be what you want. It may not be appropriate for you. So that's perfectly okay. This teacher-student relationship can get a little bit mystified in Tibetan Buddhism, and I hope we can demystify it somewhat over the next few weeks. A couple terms that you've heard used already are guru and lama. Guru is the Sanskrit word. It just means teacher or leader. Lama is the Tibetan word for guru. Okay, so they mean the same things. They are essentially unofficial titles just used by students towards their teachers. There's no official central organization that gives you a card to show that you're a lama or a guru. So they're used in many different ways, but it generally means a teacher. Now you'll also hear the term Geshe, as with our resident teacher at Kadampa Center, Geshe Gelik. And Geshe is an official academic degree. It's kind of a PhD of Buddhist monastic studies. And you get that from the monastery after completing the full course of studies and passing the exams or such. So Geshe is an official degree. And then Geshe Gelik, like some others, is what's called Lorumpa Geshe, which is a kind of PhD summa cum laude, a few Geshes in each class at Sarah J Monastery, for example, which is 4,000 monks in South India, are given the Geshe Lorumpa degree, which Geshe Gelik, our resident teacher, has. So that's used up most of the time that we had this evening. Again, I just want to emphasize that every student is different, every teacher is different. So that means every teacher-student relationship is going to be completely different. Just a few things I jotted down that I wanted to talk about. We use the term spiritual teacher. Venerable Connie, she used the term spiritual mentor. They also use the term spiritual guide. Okay, these are all interchangeable. And we are spiritual students or spiritual seekers to some degree or another. Some of us may just be here out of curiosity, but some of us at least, we think that we're on a path, a spiritual path. And on that path, we pass through different stages, okay? And the vast majority of people on the spiritual path will have more than one teacher. They may have a couple, may have many, many people who they see as their teachers, and they're going to have a different relationship with each one. Every teacher-student relationship is different, okay? Not every spiritual teacher or spiritual mentor has the same level of accomplishment, okay? Every spiritual teacher is not equal to the Dalai Lama in terms of their personal understanding of the path. You know, teachers are going to be at different levels, just as the students are, and different teachers may be more appropriate at different times in our spiritual path than others. So the relationship between the teacher and the student is going to depend on where the student is on his path and where the teacher is on her path, okay? So there's an incredible amount of variability in what a teacher-student relationship may be like. Over the course of time, as we progress, hopefully, on the spiritual path, it may seem very slow, but with time in general, our relationship with our teachers becomes deeper and more profound, okay? When we just start on a path, you know, we may just be sitting in a comparative religion class at university with an academic professor there, and we're just getting intellectual knowledge. There's no kind of heartfelt component to it. But then as we progress along the path, we bring more of our life experience to the relationships with teachers, and those relationships become deeper. And we need to understand that each teacher, again, a teacher may have many students, but their relationship with each student is going to be different, okay? Some people relate to Geshe Gelik in one way, some people relate to him in another way. The same thing with the holiest Dalai Lama. There's not one Dalai Lama or Lama Zopa Rinpoche that is identical for every student. Okay, so just think of, we're on a path, we meet many teachers, our relationship with each teacher is going to be completely different from our relationship with other teachers. Okay, starting from, just like I said, just sitting in the classroom, absorbing facts, to the kind of relationship you heard some of the people talk about in the video, which is a very deep and very profound sort of relationship. And wherever we are on the path and whatever is appropriate for us is fine. You know, some people get hung up on, oh, I've got to find a teacher. I've got to find a teacher. Well, no, you don't have to find a teacher. You have to do what's right for you, your path at that time. So I just wanted to put that out there just to give a little bit of perspective what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. Our time is almost up. So for the next week, all I'd like you to do is identify your meditation location at home, someplace that's neat and clean and quiet, where you can spend 10 minutes each day doing just a simple concentration meditation like we did here this evening. If you want to read the prayers, that's fine. That's not required, but do set your motivation and then place your concentration on the breath. So 10 minutes, 6 days out of the week, 6 out of 7, and begin the readings. And then we'll pick up next week and there'll be time for questions. If you have questions, Linda, can they forward to you before the class?
Sure. Yeah, I put
Okay.
my email contact in the chat, so it's
Okay.
there. You can shoot.
But if some come up during the class next week, I'm going to leave time at the end for questions. And everybody stay cool. Okay. Anything you want to add, Linda?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a wrap. Thanks,
Okay,
Robbie.
great. Everyone stay healthy and we'll see you next week and we'll get into talking more about the student-teacher relationship. And then we'll talk about those characteristics that we look for in a teacher, wherever we are on the path, and take that list that they gave us and try and make it a little bit more real, a little bit more personal. Okay? So thank you,
Thanks so
everyone.
much,
Thank you,
Robbie.
Linda.
Thank you, Robbie.
Okay. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
How many
Bye.
people did we have on YouTube? Do you know?
Just two to three on
Okay.
YouTube. Yep.
Okay, coming and going. Okay, great. Thank you. See you all next week.
Okie doke. Thanks, Robbie.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you.